It's DJ Akademiks, and check it out, because the game has changed, man. I think a lot of people have known this, right? I mean, listen, Pusha T made a comment recently, said, man, the game has changed from 2002 till now, and I'm thinking, you think? Everything has changed. For example, and let's talk about labels and how they interact with artists. Back in like 2002, a record label like Def Jam, a record label like Atlantic, Columbia, right? They had basically the power to influence an artist getting hot, which means they could pump their money. And yes, they are a glorified bank. I've been saying this, but they could put money into a non-talented beef patty and basically heat that motherfucker up, okay? That was in like 2002, okay? We've seen tons of people that if you go back and be like, damn, they were hot, yeah, because a label invested in them. Now in 2015, that's not the case, okay? There's more about, right now it's more about hype. And I told you guys, right now, hype is the biggest thing. If you got the hype, you could sell anything. Doesn't matter the quality, it only matters about the hype, at least for sales, okay? If, like for example, Future and Drake, they got the hype, okay? They could put out a subpar project, it's gonna sell out. They got the hype. And also hype has become the new reference point, which people kind of, and the masses, not everybody, but the masses kind of judge things on. So if your shit is overhyped or well hyped, they'll be like, oh, it's flames. Okay. But if it's not hyped, they're like, oh, it's trash. It's not going to get the attention, right? But artists are finding out now, and especially artists who aren't rookies, who aren't the new thing, who didn't just get signed and they're really considered new. They're finding out that, listen, man, a record label is fucking clueless. And I mean clueless in every definition of the word, okay? They basically are trying to figure out, and I mean, they figure out key elements sometimes of how to get a rapper hot. And not only just a rapper that nobody fucks with, but even reheating a rapper. Like, for example, right? If you're not on your first project, okay, you dropped the first project, or maybe you dropped the first and second, now you went on a tour, and then, you know how these guys get, they're like, yo, we want to take like a month or not even a month, like 6 months or a year to kind of like kick back and find ourselves, okay? That find ourselves moment's over, okay? There ain't no more finding myself, okay? You better stay on the road if you want to stay hot. That's why most artists now, they stay on the road. There ain't no more bicking back being bull at the crib for 6 months and coming back out, unless you're like Adele. So most of these guys, they just stay on the road, right? Now, what the label is having a problem doing is like heating up a rapper or singer to the level they once were. Like, for example, and we're talking about August Alsina, right? He was very, very hot the first time he came out. Now he's coming out again, and the label, which, listen, all credit to August Alsina, he's been doing what he's been doing, and he's been doing it correctly, but now the label can't get his buzz up by promoting him to get back to the level he once was, okay? That's obviously going to cause friction because you're paying the label, and don't get it fucked up, the label is basically being paid by you, even though they invest in you, a lot of money. So when you're looking at them like you guys aren't fulfilling your end of the bargain, that's a problem. Now, the other people in the industry are having problems with their label include B.O.B. I believe he's having problems with Atlantic Records, and also Waka Flocka. He's having a lot of problems with Atlantic. He's trying to demand a release. Now, what happened last night is that August Alsina's album popped up on Vivo. If you don't know, Vivo is like an official outlet. It partners with YouTube, and all these like record labels release their officially tracked either audio and video to that platform, and of course, Billboard will count it. Now, the entire August Alsina album went up there. Now, it's kind of interesting because everyone's calling it a leak, and it is a leak. But when we think about leaks, just reason with me, okay? Like a leak 10 years ago, you would normally see it pop up on some unauthorized website. You wouldn't see a leak via an official website because that's not called a leak anymore. That's called an early release. But we would normally see a leak via a unauthorized website, right? Because through the CD packaging process, somebody that catches it at the manufacturers doesn't stuff it into a box. They bring it home, they burn it, they send it up to a website, they probably sell it or something like that. And that's how the album got leaked. And back then, those albums were being leaked like 2 weeks before, right? So now is actually a good time because everything is so digital. They've reduced the time that most albums get leaked now to kind of less than a week. So August Alsina album gets leaked, quote unquote, purposely by his own label via an official outlet where streaming will be counted from. And it has me shaking my head, or not shaking my head, but at least scratching my chin to say, is this a plan or is this a mistake, right? Now, he took to, of course, Twitter, and he had a couple of words for his label because you got to let the label have it. So he basically said, I didn't do this. My shitty ass label did it. They're just fucking shitty. Shaking my head. Then he says, can't win for fucking losing, dog. Then he says, fuck you, Def Jam, right? Now he came to his senses in the morning and he said this. He said, Dear Nation. I'm guessing he calls his group of fangirls Nation. He says, I know in the past my actions may have shown me to be seemingly ignorant because of my very big mouth. I hate to come off negatively in any way possible, but, or he says, and I may not handle every situation the way you may see fit. There's so much passion, blood, sweat, tears that I pour into everything that I do, and in no way do I take the position God has put me in for granted. With all this being said, my fuck you tweet came from a place of frustration, of course, but also a place of love. The love I speak of is the up all day and night, the endless studio sessions, interview after interview, plane ride after plane ride, show after show kind of love. I could go on, but what I'm trying to say is that all I do is done because of the love I have for my fans, the people who support me, and simply the love of the art. I can't express to you how much hard work was poured into this album, its presentation and rollout. So for it to be leaked because of a careless mistake hurts me to the core. I understand that mistakes are made because I, for one, have made plenty myself, but that doesn't make them easy to accept. I have a great deal of respect for the Def Jam family, but I hate the disappointment my album leaking has caused my fans. I hope this letter provides a better understanding of where I'm coming from. Peace and blessings. Now, let me just say this, okay? There is a possibility that this is not a carefully orchestrated plan, because in the back of my mind I'm thinking like this could be a plan to get fans to sympathize with him to buy more, because fans have always supported an artist who claims that he's been, or he or she has been, victimized by a label. So maybe people are just rocking with like, or maybe people will support more now that they think quote unquote Def Jam is fucking them over. But then I think about it and I read what he said. He kind of makes an allusion to Def Jam possibly releasing it by mistake, which means maybe they scheduled those songs to go live on the day the album came out, or maybe a week after the album came out, because that's the normal thing with trying to get streaming numbers up as well. And maybe somebody forgot to change the date, or maybe all the dates were default set to last night, right? Now, the big thing about that I take from it, right, is that August Alsina, what you need to take from that, because I've taken it from your explanation, if it's true, you're not a priority at Def Jam, bruh. That's what it is. That doesn't happen a priority. That happens to basically the fat on the meat, okay? We gotta skim the fat. You are the fat right now. Of course, you had a big-ass song when you first came out, but now they're probably looking at you like, it's time for you to show and prove, okay? That's why it's important when artists are on a major, you kind of have to act like you're independent. Even when you're independent, that's the time for you to learn the music industry and know how to do things yourself. Because August Alsina right now is feeling like a victim to the system, and one that he feels he has no control over. Okay, so what do you guys think, man? Get in comments. Make sure you guys like, definitely subscribe. Do you think that the label is fucking over August Alsina? Or some people have said to me, they're like, yo, August Alsina is just always bitching. What is this nigga's problem? And I will say he does bring his problems to the media really often and really quickly. Get in comments. Make sure you guys like, definitely subscribe to Akademiks. I'm out.